Right. Well, no, because they bring like pay. Then I figured that it's like we're on TV, so we can't really be sitting there,
So I starts reading the
eating
pledge.
things.
It says, I, member of the Boy Scouts of America, promise to be a, sorry. We'll finish up later.
Good afternoon and welcome to Athens City Council. It's Wednesday, December 14th, approximately 12:04 p.m. Council will be in regular session this afternoon. And our first item of business is to establish a quorum. Councilmember Butler is not able to be with us, but all other council members are here. Our first item of business is disposition of minutes, and these are for the regular session of council held on November 21st, 2016. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. We'll now move on to communications, first from our council members. And Councilmember Katsas?
Yes, thank you. Council would like to acknowledge that all council members received a letter from Rural Action, just kind of outlining some of the areas that they would like to have us look at in regards to recycling before that fee is really looked at and changed.
Okay, thank you. Communications from any other council members? Councilmember McGee?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that I had heard some very good things about the Athens Police Department's recent situation where they had stopped a person who was apparently stealing packages on Montrose Avenue and who was carrying a concealed weapon. And I just wanted to, although I've been known as someone who's somewhat critical, I can say that I believe that the police department, the particular officers, did a great job, and I applaud them. So
Great.
Wanted to say that.
Thanks for sharing that information. Yes, and any other communications then? All right, communications from other elected officials. Law Director Eliason.
I don't know if it's as much a communication as an announcement. And James Stanley, who is one of our city prosecutors, will be leaving in January, early January, to take the position or to become Meigs County prosecutor. And a new attorney will be joining our office. Her name is Jessica Branner, and she will be a city prosecutor. I wanted to tell you a little bit about her. She will join us in January. And she's a graduate of Federal Hocking High School, Ohio University, and Capital University of Law. She's been an associate with Brooker and Eckler since 2013, and will be joining us as city prosecutor. So I'm pleased to announce that.
Good news. Okay. And Mayor Patterson, do you have any communications?
I do. A couple. Again, I received the same letter that Member Katsas was referring to from Rural Action, and have requested a meeting with Aaron Sykes to discuss some of those, because I think there's a lot of value in that and some other options for those monies coming in through the garbage fund. The other communication I have is that I've received a couple letters from residents who live in the Dalton area near the two houses that are used to be the Wayne National Forest ranger stations or homes, structures, and concern about what ultimately happens with those properties. We're talking about 4 Dalton and 2 Dalton, and that will be discussed tomorrow in the Planning Commission as we move forward. But just wanted everyone to be aware of that there was some concern over what ultimately happens with those 2 properties as the renovation is taking place.
Okay. All right. And I don't think we have any communications then from the auditor's office, so we'll move on then to ordinances for third reading. The first one is Ordinance 14916, an ordinance declaring certain vehicles no longer needed for a municipal purpose. And this is introduced by Councilmember Pappy.
Thank you. I move to adopt 14916.
Second.
And if council members remember, we had a pretty long list of vehicles, both vehicles that are maybe being repurposed within our system, maybe being auctioned off, and then we had several seized vehicles during police seizures that we need to move forward with this ordinance for.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for approval of ordinance 14916. Any other-
President,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just have
Mayor
a brief
Patterson,
comment
yes.
on that. I had a conversation earlier today with the mayor of Coolville, who was interested in these vehicles, and that is part of the process, is that among the other things that can be done with the vehicles with disposition, donation to another municipality is one of those. They were looking for a police cruiser, and there wasn't a cruiser in that list, but again, this ordinance kind of speaks to what the different ways in which vehicles can be, what the disposition can be of those vehicles. Donation is one of them.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from council members or staff? Okay. We have the motion and a second for approval of 14916. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries and the ordinance is approved. Ordinance 15016 is an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Athens, Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2017. This is introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. I hereby make a motion that we adopt 15016.
Second.
This, of course, is our annual budget. This will be for 2017. A spreadsheet of the budget is on everyone's computer, and it lists by the departments and what the various funding lines are for. But to cut to the chase, our budget for next year looks to be $40,104,005. No cents. And that's what we're voting for.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of our budget for the coming year and ordinance 15016. Any other additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries and the ordinance is approved. Ordinance 15116 is an ordinance authorizing 2017 staffing levels and non-union compensation, repealing all ordinances inconsistent therewith and declaring an emergency. This is introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. I make a motion that we adopt 15116.
Second.
We've been through our reading process. We've discussed it in council. Essentially, we're saying, effective the first period of 2017, the authorized staff levels hereto are attached. And pursuant to Ordinance 7116, council does hereby authorize a 2% pay increase for all full-time, permanent, part-time, non-union employees effective the first pay period 2017.
Okay. And as I understand, the major changes with this are changing some of the positions, the seasonal positions to as needed. Is that
No, the other way around.
other way
We're
around?
actually assigning a number
Assigning a
of
number, okay.
interns.
Within me, okay, good. Oh, I see the numbers ahead of them, thank you. Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of ordinance 15116. All those, any other comments or questions?
Staffing? It says non-union fringe benefits package. This has to be amended.
5216 has the non-union fringe benefits, maybe I'm.
Oh, my head.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
okay,
you're-
that's all right.
Yeah,
We'd
please don't
rather
get it.
have you asking ahead of time than later. That's just fine.
It's quite all right, I did that a week ago.
All right, so we do have the motion and the second right now for approval of ordinance 15116. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The motion carries and the ordinance is approved. Now we'll move on to ordinance 15216, an ordinance adopting a fringe benefits package for non-union personnel within the City of Athens and repealing all ordinances inconsistent therewith and declaring an emergency. And this is introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. This time I'd like to make a motion that we amend the proposed ordinance 15216.
Second.
What I'd like to, I'll read the changes. This would be in the section that says effective dates / retroactivity. Section 2, overtime, Part C, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. It now reads effective with the first pay period of 1996. that will be struck out and replaced with 2017. The fire captain shall be paid for all hours worked in excess of their normal work schedule on a 1-to-1 1/2 ratio, but not less than 3 hours per call out at, it now reads, at the 2080, that will be changed to a $24.96 hourly overtime rate.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to amend the language as described by Councilmember Reisner, and it's defining the pay period beginning, the year, and then also the number of hours, as I'm understanding the language you read to us.
Correct.
Okay. So the motion and a second to amend 152-16. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, the ordinance has been amended and read for the first time.
I would now like to make a motion that we suspend the rules for 152-16.
Second.
The reason being, we need to adopt this ordinance before the end of the year. This is our last council meeting, and so today is the day.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for suspending the rules for ordinance 152-16. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The rules have been suspended, Councilmember Reisner.
I now make a motion that we adopt 152-16
Second.
for all the reasons heretofore given.
Okay. And we've had this in committee discussion and on, so.
Yes.
All right. We have a motion and a second for adoption of 152-16. And any other additional comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries and the ordinance is approved. Ordinance 153-16 is an ordinance amending Athens City Code Title 7 Traffic Code, Chapter 7.02, Equipment. Loads to add sections for operation of low-speed, underspeed, utility vehicles, or a mini truck upon any street or highway within the city of Athens and declaring an emergency. This is introduced by Councilmember Pappy.
Thank you. I move to adopt 153-16.
Second.
Okay.
We've had considerable discussion regarding this, and just as a reminder, this is to respond to the Ohio Revised Code the legislature recently passed regarding underspeed, low-speed vehicles. So we have had conversation over the last couple months in consultation with Service Safety Director, the mayor, Ohio University staff, the chief of police from Ohio University, discussing the current usage of these type of vehicles and how we wanted to continue seeing them operate on our streets. So this is our third reading for this ordinance.
Okay. And as I understand, we do have an inspection system, so it calls for headlights, taillights, horn, windshield, and a variety of requirements that need to be met, and directional signals and a lap belt.
And that is also part of the state law.
Yep, okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of 153-16. Are there any other additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay.
We have one negative vote, and so 6 to 1. The motion carries and the ordinance is approved. We now have an ordinance for first reading, 154-16, an ordinance amending the 2016 appropriation ordinance, which is introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe we need to suspend the rules for 154-16.
Second.
Reason being, this ordinance covers the 2016 appropriation ordinance 125-15. We're almost at the end of the year of 2016. The changes that we need to make have to be done now.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for suspending the rules for ordinance 154-16. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The rules have been suspended. Councilmember Reisner.
I move that we adopt 154-16.
Second.
Before we vote, I'd like to read the ordinance. Section 1, the 2016 Appropriation Ordinance 1/2015 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance a sum of $506,420 to Sewer Debt Fund 758 TC 400 for the wastewater treatment plant design loan and increasing the total appropriations by said amount.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second for approval of ordinance 154-16. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, the motion carries and the ordinance has been approved. We now have time for other business. Is there any other business that administration or council members are aware of? Okay. Or the auditor's office? Okay. All right. Now we have an opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on the agenda. And is there anybody that wishes to, anybody in the audience that wishes to speak today? Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I think this is close to concluding our last meeting for the end of 2016. And so want to thank everybody, administration and council members, and people who come to observe for all the time you spend here and paying attention to things, so, and helping us with this, and our clerk, of course. Last but not least. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All right, all those in favor of the motion to adjourn our meeting, say aye.
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 Nay? All right,
Nay.
we have adjourned at 12:20 PM. Thank you very much.